Okay, we're live. Let's get this party started. Appreciate everybody for being here. Please, as always, the best thing you can do to help this channel grow, if you like the content, go ahead and give it a thumbs up right now. Even if you're only going to watch for a few minutes, I would greatly appreciate it. Just give it a thumbs up. Please don't forget to do that. Quick announcement, this will be my last live stream for the week. I got family obligations for the rest of the week, so just want to let you guys know I will not be doing a show tomorrow or Friday, just to give you guys a heads up. But I'll be back next Monday. Just wanted to let you guys know that. All right, let's get the party started right off the bat. What you're looking at here is a photograph of a school board in Florida, which officially voted unanimously to allow their members to withdraw from the National School Board Association. So that will expire at midnight. Or I think this tweet is actually from yesterday, so it may have expired already officially today. But another school board has withdrawn from the National School Board Association because of the partisan nature and the indoctrination that they oversee at a national level, and the fact that they are feeding information to Merrick Garland, who is then weaponizing the DOJ to go after parents. We don't need to rehash it. You guys know what's going on there. But this is beautiful. This beautiful site, diverse board, and their signs that they're holding up. You can't really, I can barely make out what they're saying, but they're basically listing out their names and what you would hold up if you were like in prison or something. You know, the little thing where it says your name and it's got like a number on it. But they're pretty much saying names like Nicole, domestic terrorists, for standing up for their children's rights or whatever. So great, good news, a bit of good news there. But of course, you know, there is a spin on it for the people who are opposed to this. And I just found this tweet randomly while I was trying to find an article. And somebody tweeted, keeping the duh in Florida. Morons withdraw because they don't want the FBI investigating deadly threats from the radical right against school board members who are trying to do their jobs. Florida School Boards Association withdraws from NSBA. That's so funny. So the school board wants to withdraw because the FBI is investigating deadly threats, none of which we've been made aware of. You would think that if there were deadly threats, we would see more news reports on it. There'd be more coverage, but they're just saying just generally death threats and generally hostile parents at these school board meetings, and they just don't talk about it. They don't really give you many details on it. But of course, they got to put a spin on it. Some rando here. It's not really a huge deal, but it's a rando person. And I mean, that's the sentiment a lot of people share. They think that this is because the school boards and parents want schools to be partisan and politicized. It has nothing to do with the indoctrination or the sexualization of their children. It's just that they want more radical right partisan involvement. But good job on that Florida school board for backing out of the national indoctrination efforts. So that's good. Really good. You love to see it. Other good news. This is big news. Potential, guys. Big news. The Supreme Court is hearing arguments to potentially, maybe, possibly, hopefully, prayerfully overturn Roe v. Wade. If not, you know, Roe v. Casey, I think, which was a Pennsylvania add-on to Roe versus Wade to kind of strengthen it back in like the 90s. I've just been reading up on it this morning, actually. But, you know, we have a conservative majority on the Supreme Court, 6-3. And now I feel like is a really good time for those conservative justices that Trump appointed to come through clutch in the name of protecting the unborn. And I think it could potentially happen, as Mississippi has elevated their law to ban abortion to the Supreme Court. So they're hearing it now. This started today. RSBN is providing coverage of it, live coverage. So this is potentially huge, you guys. Obviously, this Mississippi law only wants to ban abortion at 15 weeks, and even I believe it was actually Justice Roberts who one of his statements was, "Why isn't 15 weeks long enough for a woman to decide if she needs an abortion?" I mean, I don't always agree with Roberts, but hey, that's a pretty good point. And of course, this article from Reuters is framing it as this is a restrictive ban. Multiple red states are trying to turn back the clock on civil rights for women and yada, yada, yada. It's a restrictive ban, but it's 15 weeks. I mean, it's like 4 months to decide to kill a baby or not. No, obviously, you know my stance on it. It doesn't go far enough. Just like when everyone was all up in arms over Texas's heartbeat bill, which gave a woman 6 weeks to decide to terminate a pregnancy. In my view, life begins at conception. With that said, there's options if a woman thinks she's pregnant, morning after pill, etc. You have options, right? But 15 weeks is hardly restrictive. So, I mean, even though that they're calling this restrictive, I don't think it goes far enough. But it's very possible that we could see an overturn of Roe v. Wade. And really all that means is it kicks it back to the states. The states get to decide. But of course, they got to do all the fear mongering. A woman's going to have to cross state lines. She's going to have to drive super far. It's like she has 15 weeks in the state of Mississippi, at least, if this is, if the Supreme Court rules in their favor. And even Justice Kavanaugh, here's a statement from Justice Kavanaugh: the Constitution is neither pro-life nor pro-choice and leaves the issues to the people to resolve in the democratic process. Which means that he would basically be in favor of overturning Roe v. Wade because it would kick it back to the states, in which the states would elect the legislature, the governor, who would then write the law, amend the law of that state's, abortion stance. So that's a good sign. It's leaning towards, they're signaling towards that they might actually overturn it. I'm not going to get my hopes up on this. You shouldn't either, but if you believe in protecting the rights of the unborn, the most innocent amongst us, then you should feel pretty good about this. And I can only imagine what would happen if this is overturned. I can only imagine what the people who are for ending the life of babies would have to say about this. And it's just weird that they would get so angry, like a woman should have a right to kill a baby when it's further developed. Like, it's just weird to me. It's just weird. And, there's people who have the pro-choice stance. Good for them. I don't condemn them or think that they're evil because they have that stance. But I would love to have a discussion about why they think it should be normalized to end the life of a baby before, like, as it's developed and it can feel pain and you can see it and it starts moving around and you can feel the baby kick. It's like, it's still her right to choose. She could end the baby's life. It's just weird. It's weird. And yeah, so for them to be super upset and pissed about Mississippi saying you have 15 weeks, 4 months to do this thing, I think that's kind of crazy. But anyway, there's another statement, and then I'll move on from this because we don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to spend too much time on it. But this is from Justice Alito. There are circumstances in which a decision must be overruled simply because it was egregiously wrong at the moment it was decided. Just kind of like how the Supreme Court overturned like racial segregation, because the liberal justices are making the argument that it's dangerous to overturn a long-standing precedent. But it's like, yeah, it can be done, and it should be done in an instance where the time of the ruling, it wasn't right. It wasn't right. Like I said, I hope that one day we look back on abortion the same way we look back on slavery, something that was egregiously wrong. I hope generations in the future look back and say, I'm glad that they made the right choice to overturn Roe versus Wade, instead of it just being the law of the land. Like, yeah, people just casually kill babies, No other species on earth kills their offspring and just sees it as like normal. But anyway, moving on. What you're looking at here now is a concentration camp that has been constructed in China. This is in China. It's not here in the United States. But just because it's in China doesn't mean it can't happen here. There's a reason why from the beginning of this year, I've been covering the COVID restrictions and tyranny abroad in other countries. Why? Because just because it's happening there does not mean it can't happen here. But people here have a tendency to think, wow, that's really crazy what they're doing in New Zealand. That's crazy what they're doing in Australia. Good thing we live in the US. Of course, there's some people who think we should actually do what they're doing. They may or may not be comfortable or bold enough to say that out loud, but they probably think it because they've been so brainwashed by the media to believe we have to do everything possible to get rid of COVID, even though COVID's not going away. No matter what you do, there are people who are so far gone that they think do everything possible. So I'm showing this image because people need to know that just because it's happening in China does not mean it can happen here. In fact, it's more likely to happen here if it's happening in China, considering the fact that the puppet fake president is basically controlled by China. So just wanted to show that and share that. And we know that they're building these quarantine camps and enforcing them. They already are built in places like Australia. Teenagers actually just escaped from a remote quarantine camp in Australia, and they have been arrested, which is just, I mean, what can you say? I mean, I don't know why people can not see this coming here to the United States when it's happening in Western countries. It's not just happening in communist countries. It's happening in Western countries. It's happening in Australia. And, you know, I bring all these quarantine camps up and talk about these concentration of unvaccinated people or people who have COVID or potentially could have COVID. I bring all that up because the puppet in the White House has floated the idea of having U.S. citizens quarantine for 7 days upon return to the U.S. after they travel to one of the 7 countries in South Africa. Now, to be fair, it's not going to be a quarantine facility. It would be a quarantine at home. And then if you are in violation of that, you could get a fine. But we all know, like we all know how to spell our names, we all know that that's not where it ends. That's not where it stops, because 90% of the people aren't going to abide by that. They're like, no, I'm sorry. I just got back. I'm a United States citizen. I'm fully vaccinated. I don't have COVID. I'm going to go do what I was planning to do all along, which was shop, go see my family, go work, go to the gym, whatever I was going to do. I'm not going to quarantine for 7 days. If they want to quarantine for 7 days, fine. But if you want to try to slap them with a fine, and eventually what would happen, because so many people would not abide by that 7-day quarantine arbitrary rule, then it would become mandatory. So you see, you know, it sounds crazy now. It sounds very Alex Jonesy, but I mean, how long before it becomes that? And I've said this for weeks, if not months. I just want to cut to the chase here. How far is the United States government willing to go to vaccinate the entire population? How far? I want to know. Is it to the point of showing up at people's doors, dragging them out, putting them in camps, vaccinating them at their front door, vaccinating them at their place of work, locking them up? How far are they willing to go? Let's cut to the chase right now. Let's not take these little steps. Let's not incrementally implement these restrictions. Cut to the chase right now. I want to know what I'm dealing with. Don't you? I want to know. I wish they would just lay it out right now, because they're sending us mixed signals. They keep saying, on one hand, we don't need to worry about the Omicron variant. There's no reason to panic. But out of the other side of his mouth, he's saying we are going to potentially make people quarantine for 7 days when they get back to the U.S. And we're going to need a booster shot for this particular variant. So if they're saying we're going to need a booster shot for every variant, does that not mean that COVID lasts for eternity? Because there's going to be a new strain. It's going to continue to mutate. There's going to be another shot that will need to be administered before you're fully vaccinated. And then, because you have to have a fully vaccinated status to be able to participate in public life, that means you are a slave to a big pharma product. Unless somebody can tell me otherwise, I want to know specifically, when will this end? What's the end game? When is the end date? And how far are you willing to go to get people like me to comply? What measures do you think need to be taken? I want to know. Aboriginal group alleges 47 residents forcefully detained, trucked away to quarantine camps. This is in Australia. They're rounding people up. And we've seen this, you guys. We've seen it. We saw a live, I don't know if it was news coverage or what, of them showing up to haul off a man to a health hotel back in, like, I want to say August or September. A guy that was not sick. He didn't show any symptoms. He didn't feel sick. But they came to his house, loaded him up in a paddy wagon, and drug him off to a health camp, health hotel. And people seem to think that can't happen here when it's already happening in Australia. They've already locked down in Austria, Netherlands, other places in Europe. They're locking down people who have not taken the shot. And to just think about what that does to the psyche. What does that do to the psyche of a healthy person? Somebody who has no physical symptoms, no signs. They may not have even tested positive, but they were around people who tested positive that didn't have any symptoms. They were not sick, but they've been psychologically led to believe that they are sick. You have a virus. You are potentially dangerous. You're potentially killing people just with your existence. Think about what that does to your mind. For you to think that you're carrying a virus. You are a virus, essentially. I think that's the long game. Because if you can be psychologically brainwashed to believe that you are a dangerous risk to society, well, then you'll easily submit to this. They don't want to have to show up at your door. They don't want to have to haul you off. They want it to be easy. They want you to submit. They want you to walk yourself to the slaughter. Think about that. They don't want to have to force people to do this. They want people to comply. That's why I said all along, the mask is a symbol of compliance. Who's complying and who's not? They want to be able to physically see it. Who do we control and who is rebellious? Who's getting uppity out there? And I think that that's exactly what this is. So it's happening in Australia. It's happening in China, of course. It's happening in parts of Europe. And eventually it's going to happen here in the United States. Now, there's a lot being made about this guy right here. CNBC host Jim Cramer going on a rant about a vaccine mandate being enforced by the military. If you haven't heard it yet, you're about to hear it now.
Lord knows what happened if you didn't partake. But back then, anyone who refused to get vaccinated would get ratted out immediately because we knew that person could hurt other people. The commonweal was a commonweal. Now we're engaged in a similar struggle with COVID, and Eisenhower would be aghast. We have immunocompromised people who are incubators for every variant to come, walking around lawfully unvaccinated? That's psychotic. We have companies that have tried hard to get people vaccinated and now backing down. We have governors who want to be president by grandstanding on a foolish states' right issue, the right to get sick, get other people sick.
You see the inversion of reality. Inversion of reality. You have the right to walk around lawfully vaccinated? You're damn right I do. I'm not sick. This is not going to work on me. It's not going to work. You cannot convince me that I'm sick when I'm not sick. It's one thing if I am sick and I'm showing symptoms and I'm coughing and purposely trying to spread germs to other people. Not only is that, I guess you can't really say that's illegal, but morally, yeah, that's bad. Morally, that's bad. If I were to go purposely cough on doorknobs and try to spread a virus. But what we've done, the status quo, normalcy, aka, is if you're sick, stay home. Stay home, sit on the couch, get yourself some chicken noodle soup, some 7-Up, just chill and relax, and go back to work, go back in society when you're feeling better. But now it doesn't matter if you're sick. It doesn't matter. If you have not had this product injected into your body, you're dangerous. This is the psychological repetition and this rhetoric that we're hearing from the media to make people think they're sick and dangerous when they're not. It's not going to work. But yeah, inverting reality. That's psychotic to walk around as a free person in America. So let's hear what else he has to say.
So it's time to admit that we have to go to war against COVID.
AKA go to war against Americans.
Require vaccination universally. Have the military run it.
You heard it right there. Have the military This is what he's saying. We have yet to hear a government official say it, but who paid this guy to say this? Have the military show up to Mike's house, have the military inject Mike. So we know at least how far one talking head in America media is willing to go to vaccinate me. I'll just use me as an example. He's willing to point the gun of the military at me to vaccinate me when I have probably better health than he does. I have better health than probably 90% of people. I'm not just bragging. I'm just saying I know how to take care of myself. Nobody on this planet knows what's best for me but me, period. Same goes for everyone else. It'd be completely different, just to reiterate, be completely different. If I were sick, if I knew that I was sick and still traveled, still went out, tried to spread germs, purposely try to get people sick, then yeah, maybe an argument could be made that somebody should step in and stop this person from deliberately trying to get people sick. And I'm not talking like a cold or the flu. I'm talking about if I had something really deadly and really transmissible and I went out and I was like, I'm going to try to kill people by getting them sick with what I have. First of all, I'd probably be really sick myself and unable to do that. But if I were able to go out and get people sick, then yeah, somebody should probably maybe citizens arrest. I don't know. I don't even want to go down that path. I'm just saying this is not that. We're talking about something where 99% of people recover from it. And that was before we had a vaccine. As I covered yesterday, we have more deaths this year than last year, despite the fact that we have a widespread distribution of multiple vaccines. Booster shots are given out. We still have a higher death rate than last year. But this guy right here in American media said it, that it's time to go to war against COVID, which means turn the military inward, pointed at American citizens who do not want Pfizer injections, who want to maintain their stance of freedom and don't want this medicine. They don't want it. If they wanted it, they would have gotten it already. And if the majority of Americans have already complied, which I don't believe, I honestly don't believe it. The majority of people have complied. Why are they still lashing out? Why are we getting this kind of rhetoric? Isn't this guy supposed to be like covering like the stock market or something? Like, I just don't get it. Why is he wading into the waters of medical health? I thought we weren't supposed to get medical advice from people who aren't experts. And yet this guy thinks we should go so far as to get the military involved to jab arms. So there you go. Now you know. And again, people think it's not going to happen here in the United States. Boy, I sure did not see that coming. Now, moving on to the potato in chief here. Here's how serious COVID really is. I mean, just look at him here. Look at him. Put the mask on for 2 seconds. Look around.
Okay,
and then take it off.
I'm going to tell you all.
Now, that might seem small and petty to point this out, but think about it, right? Use some logic here. If we are in a dangerous public health emergency and we got this brand new variant that's inevitably going to come here and we need to quarantine people upon reentry to the U.S., do you need to question whether or not you should put your mask on or not? Or would you just have it strapped and bolted to your face? Would you be gathering like this? Would you be caught without a mask shopping? And yet we have people from what's her name? London Breed, whatever the mayor of San Francisco's name is. You've got all these people who are enforcing mask mandates, talking about implementing more restrictions to stop the spread, and we need to go to war against COVID. But they're caught without masks. They're caught not social distancing. They're caught gathering in groups. They're doing all these things that they're telling you you're forbidden to do. And here you have the commander in chief doing just that. He takes his mask off, puts it back on, of course, dirtying it up and probably shaking hands after touching a filthy mask that was on his face. We know, we've already seen him without a mask spit on a woman's face. We saw that on tape for the naysayers. We saw it on tape. We saw him cough into his hand and shake other people's hands. If it's a serious public health emergency, then the optics need to change. But right now, the optics are put your mask on because it's a symbol of compliance and control. That's why when Jill Biden was reading to kids at the White House the other day, all those kids had on masks. When these elites go to these parties and have these ritzy upscale dinners, they're maskless, but the people serving their food and wiping up the tables and serving them drinks are all masked. Because the optics, the subtext of that is two-tiered society. Rules for us, rules for you. You're down here, you're a peasant. Shut up and keep things in perspective. We get to do what we want. So that's what Biden just told you right here in this video without telling you. That is the subtext of this. He puts his mask on for no reason. Why is your mask on? You're inside.
Okay,
you put it on and then you take it back off. For what? For what exactly? You're confused. So he takes it off to talk to people, to talk in their direction. Again, if we're trying to slow the spread, stop touching people, put your mask on, get some hand sanitizer. I'm being serious right here. I'm not trying to be sarcastic and nitpicky. I'm saying we need to see from the highest levels of government meticulous action taken if we're in a serious public health emergency. But no, we're not, because he spits on people. So that right there, these optics right here that you're looking at just shows, it's further evidence that this is not some serious, dangerous public health emergency. And while we're on the topic of potentially quarantining people who are traveling back, U.S. citizens, having to quarantine for 7 days, the border is open. The southern freaking border is open where people can just pour over, unvaccinated, unmasked. They don't have to prove anything. They don't have to show any papers. And they certainly don't have to quarantine for 7 days. They get dumped in Jacksonville. They get put on flights and dumped in Jacksonville, Florida in the middle of the night. Dumped in New Jersey in the middle of the night. Upstate New York in the middle of the night. So I don't want to hear anything about this. If we're in a public health emergency, close the freaking border. Put your mask on at all times, Joe Biden. Stop traveling. Stop spitting on people. Don't cough in your hands and shake people's hands. Stop being a fraud. Even the World Health Organization is saying, what's all the fuss about? Whatever you call it, moronic cases are mild or show no symptoms at all. And existing jabs should provide high protection against hospitalizations and death. This is claims from the World Health Organization. So you're getting, not only are you getting these optics of saying, hey, the mask is really about controlling you. That's why you see Democrats wearing masks all the time, even though they're fully vaccinated. When they're outside, you saw Kamala Harris kissing her husband with a mask on, outdoors, kissing her husband through a mask, because it's the optics. It's about portraying that visual. They want it to be visual for you. Like, hey, this is the new norm. Accept it, sheep. That's what it is. But the World Health Organization is saying, you know, that the vaccines are protecting against hospitalizations. We're getting mixed signals. And then they wonder why we don't trust them. They wonder why we're skeptical as they threaten us with military action to get our arms jabbed, to get us forced into this submission. And by the way, even if you got 100% of people vaccinated, COVID-19 is still spreading regardless. How do I know? Well, let's see. LeBron James just entered NBA's health and safety protocols. Could be sidelined up to 10 days. Now, this is a weird headline. This is a weird way to say he got COVID-19. LeBron James enters NBA's health and safety protocols. Could be sidelined up to 10 days. You could have just said fully vaccinated LeBron James tested positive for COVID. That'd be a shorter headline. It'd be more accurate. Maybe it's just clickbait for people who might be oblivious. I wonder why he has to go into health and safety protocols for 10 days. Let me click on this article so I can read it. Maybe that's what it is. But in reality, he caught COVID. Now, I'm not going to dunk on LeBron James. No pun intended there. I'm not going to dunk on him for catching COVID. I don't wish it on anybody. I don't know if he has symptoms or not. Don't really care. I mean, my guess is he's going to make a full recovery. I think he's going to be just fine. He's a world-class athlete. But, I mean, it's kind of ironic that he's been in the headlines quite a bit. He's had a rough go of it this year. I mean, he just had a cheap shot on a guy, almost had a fight last week, got suspended, been very outspoken, he mocked Kyle Rittenhouse for fake crying. That's rich right there. LeBron James mocking people for having crocodile tears. But anyway, fully vaccinated LeBron James caught COVID. You know who else caught COVID and will not be on the sidelines tomorrow for the Cowboys game? The head coach, Mike McCarthy. Fully vaccinated Mike McCarthy and some of the coaching staff, and I believe some of the players, won't be at the game because they're fully vaccinated and caught COVID. I covered a Minnesota Vikings player, fully vaccinated, hospitalized due to COVID. Athletes, people that should be at the tip top of the health pyramid as far as physique, as far as, workout and diet and everything, doing everything possible to keep their bodies in peak condition and shape, are getting COVID, even though they're fully vaccinated. And yet the psycho Branch Covidian on NBC is saying we should have the military. We should go as far as to get the United States Army to go and vaccinate people who haven't complied. They're saying, we don't care if you don't want it. We're giving it to you. I mean, who in the United States that wants to be vaccinated hasn't been vaccinated? You can literally get it at CVS, Walgreens, Publix, Walmart, Target, your doctor. You can get them everywhere. You can get a vaccine sure as you can get a Starbucks coffee. They're everywhere. So anybody who wanted the shot already got it. So it just means that they're trying to get more aggressive at getting you to comply. And again, going back to China, they got those camps over there. Here's the camp. I'm going to show the camp again for those in the cheap seats. This can happen here. And that's what will happen if people don't comply with the potential 7-day quarantine coming from South Africa. That's where it starts. We're asking that you self-quarantine for 7 days. And if you don't, you'll be fine. Well, when people inevitably don't comply with that, then they'll get more aggressive. They'll take the next measure. So again, I'll ask it one last time, and then we'll move on. How far is the United States government willing to go to vaccinate me? What are they willing to do? Do they want to come to my house and try to drag me to jail? They want to vaccinate me at my front door. If I barricade myself inside, say, no, I'm not coming out. No, I'm not taking your shot. What happens next? I just want to know how far they're willing to go so I know what I'm dealing with here. Everybody should want to know that. Even the Branch Covidians, the most hardcore, staunch people with Fauci prayer candles. How far do you want the government to go to get your neighbor vaccinated? We already know people are willing to snitch on their family and friends and ban them from Thanksgiving dinner and get really weird. And we're so divided. I mean, think about how divided we are as a country. And that was before COVID. We were so divided. And then COVID just amplified it, made it 10 times worse. So how far is the government willing to go? How far do people want it to go to make sure that they're safe, to give them a false sense of security? Well, if we just get Mike vaccinated, then my vaccine will work. Then I won't get sick from COVID. I won't die. All we need to do is, we know how far the rank and file Branch Covidians are willing to go. I documented that with a guy snapping a photo of a teenage girl at Walmart. We know that people have been arrested for not wearing masks. People have been denied entry. I mean, people are fully for this segregation in society. They're fully for this apartheid style split in American society. And the fact that concentration camps are being constructed around the world, including Western countries that are supposed to be our allies. By the way, why aren't we putting sanctions on Australia for their egregious violation of human rights? Maybe because the guy occupying the White House and the government is actually on board with it. We know Canada, Trudeau, I mean, our neighbors to the north, I think they have some kind of quarantine, mandatory quarantine, and not just, hey, make sure that you stay, in your hotel room when you first get to Canada. It's like, no, we're funneling you into this facility and you don't get to leave until we deem it's okay. And that's why people are escaping teenagers escaping from these quarantine camps in Australia. Why are you quarantining healthy people? Just saying, guys, it's getting really weird out there. All right. Now let's move on. Let's talk about Lauren Boebert versus Ilhan Omar. You know, I don't even know why I'm covering this because it's just so silly. It's stupid. This entire thing is dumb. It feels like what we're witnessing in Congress is a bunch of school children saying nanny, nanny, boo, boo at each other. That's what it feels like. Inconsequential fights and stupid partisan stuff. Like, it does nothing to lower gas prices, does nothing to check the power coming out of the White House. It's just random, stupid distractions. But Ilhan Omar, of all people, is upset that Lauren Boebert apparently said something that was Islamophobic. Now, I heard her comment. I heard what she said about Ilhan Omar wearing, well, at least she wasn't wearing a backpack. And they're calling that Islamophobic. I'm not really seeing how that's Islamophobic. You're likening her to a terrorist, but for people to conflate that with Islam, that means like they're projecting. It reminds me of actually when they said Ron DeSantis said, we don't want to monkey this up. And they called that racist because the guy he was running against at the time he said it was black. I'm like, who is the raging racist? If a white person says monkey and a black person is anywhere near and the left calls it racist, who's thinking of monkeys and black people in the same context? It would be the racist, right? The actual racist. Same could be said for this. She said Ilhan Omar, at least she wasn't wearing a backpack. She's obviously, you could say that she said that was in poor taste. She should have worded it differently. Some people are like, I had no problem with what she said, but she was making commentary about the fact that Ilhan Omar absolutely hates the United States of America. She hates this country. She never says anything positive about it. At the very least, she hates the people of Minneapolis, which is why she wanted to defund the police. She wanted to make that city more dangerous. And Lauren Boebert, I guess, tried to apologize, which I think was weak. I like her. I think she's a fighter. She ruffles a lot of feathers. She pisses off the right people. But trying to extend the olive branch, I think, is just, especially for her, I think that was a mistake. You know, and honestly, the spotlight should be on Ilhan Omar for other reasons. Now, you guys have heard people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who I've met. I think she's great. I like her. Matt Gaetz. You've heard some of these more newer, younger, more firebrand Republicans refer to Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and the rest of them as the Jihad Squad. I'm not a fan of it. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a fan of it. Not because I think it's offensive and they're attacking women of color. I think that's the left's narrative. I'm not a fan of it because what does it accomplish? I mean, just be honest here. What does saying Jihad Squad accomplish other than, like Paul Gosar a few weeks ago with that stupid cringe gif, what does it accomplish other than give the media a stick to beat you over the head with? What does it do? Now, because of that, he got censured, got removed from his committee assignments. Was it worth it, Paul Gosar? I mean, honestly, when you look back on it, and of course he doubled down, he retweeted some other cringe like meme of himself. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? We need results. I don't want these antics. I'm not a fan of it at all. So Jihad Squad, I think it's a non-starter for me. It's just, what does it do? If anything, if you want to really get some damage done against them, and I don't mean physically, I got to say that for the algorithms on YouTube. If you really want to be effective, highlight Ilhan Omar marrying her brother. Highlight the fact that she paid cash for ballots in Minneapolis, and it's on camera. Project Veritas, they caught her. Nothing happened. She committed all kind of immigration fraud. She should be in jail. At the very least, she should be stripped of her committee assignments. And yes, if we want to play the whataboutism, Ilhan Omar apologizes for anti-Semitic tweets. What were those anti-Semitic tweets? This was back in 2019. You guys remember this. They call her an anti-Semite. What she did was she said something along the lines of, it's all about the Benjamins. Israel spends a lot of money and they influence our government. And she said something about these Jewish billionaires are using their money to influence American politics. And I don't know how spicy this take is going to be, but I agree with Ilhan Omar. Where is the lie? When she says that now she's using the angle of they're Jewish and they're doing it. She's not wrong. My angle has nothing to do with them being Jewish. Some people are going to disagree and say, Mike, it is Jewish. I'm not going there with you. I'm just not. Just don't like to get into it. It's just weird to say, well, it's because of your faith. That's why you're doing it. But George Soros just so happens to be Jewish. And he spends a lot of money funding chaos and destabilizing our country. George Soros, I'm just saying, if you look at some of the last names of people that are very powerful and also very propagandist and doing a lot to subvert the United States. I mean, people like Jeff Zucker, owner of CNN, Mark Zuckerberg, owner of Facebook, trying to implement this meta thing. I mean, we could go really deep down the rabbit hole. I just don't want to right now. Bringing it back to Ilhan Omar. She was criticized for making anti-Semitic remarks. She literally calls out Jews. She says things about Jews. There's a lot of, I don't know, for whatever reason, people split a lot of hairs over this. I noticed in the conservative community, a lot of people feel some type of way. You're not allowed to criticize Israel. You're not allowed to say Israel influences American politics. They're our ally. You notice I don't ever really talk about it. I stay away from it. I just don't engage in talking about that. But it's true. It's happening. We do give a lot of money to Israel. And Ilhan Omar happened to point it out. She's on the wrong side of the aisle while pointing it out, which is why conservatives jumped on that. Like, she's anti-Semitic. But I feel like people rush to call a lot of things anti-Semitic, which aren't anti-Semitic, just like a lot of people say things are racist when they're clearly not. And for whatever reason, it's just with the Jewish faith. People say that's anti-Semitic. But yes, just if we're going to play the whataboutism thing and the whole jihad squad thing, it's like, man, there's so much meat on the bone that you could point out that would be more effective than saying jihad squad. It doesn't get anything done. So I kind of wish they would back off of that because it's not really helpful. Oh, there's a tweet. Hold on. I want to read the actual tweet that she said. Israel has hypnotized the world. It just showed on this video here, this little video in the corner. But what Ilhan Omar tweeted was, Israel has hypnotized the world. First of all, she's criticizing the Israeli government, not Jewish citizens. I just think people kind of do that all the time where they say, this is anti-Semitic, this is racist, and it's really not. Okay? So, yeah, this whole thing with Lauren Boebert and Ilhan Omar, I just feel like it's really childish. It's kind of embarrassing. I hope that this stops. It really should stop. I really think Republicans should kind of pull back and keep things in perspective while there's momentum. There's a lot of really easy, low-hanging fruit that's going to be high impact that they could pluck right now against these Democrats. You got them on their heels. I mean, it's looking like they're going to get wiped out in the 2022 midterms. There's no reason to lose that momentum for stupidity. And again, I'm not even here to criticize Lauren Boebert and her statements. I think apologizing was probably the bad move. But nonetheless, this is politics right now. You just can't take these people seriously, man. You just cannot. Moving on to Fredo. CNN suspends Chris Cuomo for helping his brother in scandal. Now, this is just similar to the LeBron James thing. Somebody that constantly ruffles feathers, constantly foments rage and hate in the country. The chickens come home to roost, and now he is probably going to be out of a job. He's suspended indefinitely. I think that means he's probably done. They're going to find somebody probably worse than him, honestly, if you can imagine that, to replace him, because he doesn't check off enough of the what do you call it? Intersectional boxes. He's not a woman of color. He's not a trans person. They're probably going to replace him with a black trans person. That's what's going to happen. Don Lemon's not even woke enough anymore. I mean, they're going to have to replace him with a black trans person. They have to go for the wokest thing possible. You can never be woke enough. But I find it funny that Fredo is being canned for protecting his brother and using his platform. We knew long before this scandal surfaced that he was a propaganda mouthpiece for his brother, especially during COVID, bringing him on the show, talking about his great, wonderful response to the pandemic. And he's such a leader and he's going to run for president and all that. It was just, he was constantly doing puff pieces for his brother, which wasn't a total shock. I mean, at very minimum was conflict of interest, but he went so far as to try to dig up dirt on the women accusing his brother. So much for believe all women, right? But what I find really funny about this whole thing is CNN has some standard that they adhere to now. He's in violation of their protocols. They just can't believe how far he was involved in his brother's attempt to cover up all the sex assault or harassment claims against him. So CNN has a stance against him sticking up for his brother and trying to undermine the credibility of the women accusing his brother. They have a standard on that, but they don't have a standard on the guy who jerked off on camera in a Zoom call meeting. I'm talking about Jeffrey Toobin. He is back on CNN. Just let that sink in for a second. The clown world insanity, you guys. This guy jerked off, masturbated on a Zoom call meeting, and he's back on the network. But Cuomo is canned for what he did? I'm just saying, so inconsistent, so fake, so phony. But what else can you expect from this garbage news network? And then, of course, there's Don Lemon, who was accused of, by at least one person, of sexual misconduct, but Don Lemon won't get canned. And that's probably because his identity protects him. He is black. So if CNN fires Don Lemon, it is because because they're racist, not because of what Don Lemon did. So the left is just going to continue to cannibalize. And I just want to stay out of their way while they do it. Moving on. I did not pull the trigger. Alec Baldwin weeps as he describes accidentally shooting dead his cinematographer on Rust set as the worst thing that ever happened to him during George Stephanopoulos' interview. I think that they changed this headline a little bit because the initial headline read something along the lines of Alec Baldwin, and first of all, they said Alex Baldwin. Come on, Daily Mail, get it together. Anyway, the original headline said Alec Baldwin opens up in deep, impactful interview with George Stephanopoulos. I mean, to me, that translates to we need to prop him up a little bit. We need to let him control the narrative about him shooting dead someone and then remaining a free person, going shopping with his family. And so to me, it just seems like a way for them to try to rebuild the damage for Alec Baldwin. Let's bring you on. Let's have you talk in an intimate interview with George Stephanopoulos. Stop right there and ask yourself, could you shoot somebody and not only not be in jail, but get to go have a conversation with George Stephanopoulos where you probably weep and cry and make people feel sorry for you like you're the victim? Because that's what this is going to be. Who doesn't see this writing on the wall? This is all about repairing his image, making him look good, making him look really remorseful and sad, which he may be, but this is all about Alec Baldwin. It's not about the victim. Why aren't they bringing on the family of the victim, the person he killed, the person he shot dead? No one talks about them. Nobody cares about that family. Why? Let's bring on Alec Baldwin, because he's rich. He's a famous guy. People know him. So let's hear what he has to say. No word yet on investigation. But again, could you shoot somebody, whether on purpose or on accident, and then not go to jail and just continue your life as normal? I bet Alec Baldwin doesn't do a day in jail for this. What does the family think of this? Hey, the person that killed your sister or your daughter, he's on Good Morning America, or he's on George Stephanopoulos on ABC News. He's just talking to George Stephanopoulos, just having a conversation. I just think it's disgusting. But it's the two-tier justice system, man. It is. You won't see Alec Baldwin do a day in jail. I'm actually sick of even talking about this. I'm sick of hearing about what happened. The what I say, like the ammunition may have been recycled. Somebody knew it was loaded. He wasn't supposed to point it at her. Who cares? I don't care about those details. Is somebody going to get arrested for this crime because someone lost their life? Somebody died, and there's been no accountability whatsoever. How long does it take to arrest somebody or charge somebody with manslaughter? Again, if it were you and you shot somebody, you would be sitting in a jail cell right now, charged with the manslaughter. That's how it works for us peasants, us plebs. But if you're Alec Baldwin, go ahead and talk to George Stephanopoulos and let's prop you up. Let's make you feel better. Let's feed your ego a little bit in front of a national audience. Disgusting. Michigan school shooting. What we know about the victims. Now, I was going to talk about this in the context of them not showing us the face of the shooter and revealing his name like they would do within 5 minutes. And since I found this article, they have released the name of the shooter and his face. You can see his mugshot. But I thought it was interesting in time, like what we know about the victims. They usually say, here's what we know about the shooter. And at first I was thinking, they're waiting an awful long time to tell us about the shooter. Could it be that he doesn't fit the narrative? Well, in fact, he does fit the narrative for them to go ahead and push the white supremacist, school shooting, domestic terrorists. We need to ban guns because he is a who white boy. So this who white boy committed this crime. And I don't want to make light of it because people lost their lives. It's very sad. It's very tragic. I mean, unfortunately, we've had so many school shootings that I've lost count. So I don't want to seem like I'm making light of this at all. But now that this has come to light, expect this to get super political. I think you're going to hear more about it, even though there's so many of these that you may actually not hear as much about it. But I think that at least lawmakers in Michigan are going to go on the march to enact stricter gun laws because from what I've read so far, this school shooter obtained the guns through his dad who purchased them yesterday. And now the dad doesn't want to work with law enforcement. The whole thing is a mess, but it's really sad that this will be used to disarm law-abiding citizens in Michigan, if not the whole country. They will use this to advance their gun control agenda. They don't want you armed. They don't like it. Because if you're armed, then, I won't go any further with it, but just say that if they're going to try to show up at your door and vaccinate you, you at least have a way to try to stop that. Oops, I kind of said it. Anyway, appreciate everybody for being here. That's everything that I was going to cover today so far. Because I didn't have a ton of topics, I may see what else is going on right now. But I appreciate everybody for being here. If you haven't yet, please give this stream a thumbs up. Please, that's how you help this channel grow. That's how you show your support. If you like the content, the best thing you can do is give this stream a thumbs up, please. And God bless everybody for being here. And as I said at the very beginning of the stream, this is my last stream of the week because I will be with family the rest of the week. So I won't be back until Monday after today. DM says, thank you very much, Mike. God bless you. Maxwell trial. Yeah, good. Thanks for bringing that up. Let's see what's going on with the Maxwell trial. And while I pull that up, I'm going to go to Twitter here. Let me say something about yesterday because some people were feeling some type of way about me posting that rap video. Some people are like rolling their eyes. Oh gosh, rap music. I'm sorry. I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, can you not at least get behind the message of it? I mean, if rap music, conservative rap, like say Bryson Gray, pro-life rap is what's helping pierce through culture right now, shouldn't you be able to get behind it? Do you have to love the music or love the genre in order to get behind the message? I only played it because it had a good message. It wasn't just some like shoot 'em up gangbang song. I get some people don't like the genre. There's plenty of genres of music that I don't like, but if the message is good, then I think it's worth sharing. But anyway, let's see what's going on with the Maxwell trial. Maxwell Trial Tracker. I recommend you follow this on Twitter. They're getting a lot of interesting information. Jane says she doesn't remember meeting Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago before the pool incident with Epstein and Maxwell. So there's been a lot of talk about Trump flying on the Lolita Express, which I believe Trump admitted this, that he flew on the Lolita Express one time when he was like already on his way from New York to Florida. So he hopped aboard the Lolita Express one time. I've heard that people, I don't really know what to believe anymore because I got duped already this week with some fake news. But so I'm hearing that he was on there twice, and I'm not going to go on record say that that's exactly what happened. If it is what happened, then that's troublesome. But he was on there once, and he banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago for being inappropriate with an underage girl there. He cooperated with an investigation that actually led to Epstein being prosecuted and becoming a convicted pedophile. And to my knowledge, he didn't have any interaction with Epstein after he was a convicted pedophile. But that's something that was talked about, that was brought up in testimony yesterday, I believe from one of the pilots, that Trump was a passenger on the Lolita Express. But, you know, that's something that the media will run with, even though we know that a former U.S. president rode that pedophile jet 26 times. And there's photos of him. We know it. It's happened. Bill Clinton implicated. British royalty, Prince Andrew implicated. Probably the Vatican implicated. Politicians from here in the United States and the UK implicated. Probably the Saudis. Like elites from all over the world are connected in the trafficking of children. It's the truth. On the first day of Maxwell trial, the CEO of Twitter resigned, the CFO of CNBC resigned, the CFO of Walmart resigned, the CFO of Goldman Sachs resigned. Chris Cuomo was fired from CNN. Interesting, but is it a coincidence? I don't know. Don't really want to go down the rabbit hole of that, but and I don't even know what that means. Does that mean that Jack Dorsey was involved? I can't make that claim. That's an extraordinary claim. It would require extraordinary evidence. If these people who resigned from their posts resign because they're trying to do something to distance themselves from this, then I think that information would come out at some point. What's done in the dark will come to light. And as I highlighted yesterday, the very fact that Ghislaine Maxwell is even on trial should give us a mustard seed of hope in our judicial system, that there are good people still fighting for the truth, still trying to weed out this evil. I mean, the elites they got to be scared. They got to be panicked over this. The fact that she's even facing trial, like whether or not the James Comey's daughter and the judge being Obama appointed has any effect on this trial and the outcome, it's still a good thing that she's even facing trial. I'm surprised she's still alive, honestly. When Jeffrey Epstein was arrested, I was thinking to myself, this has got to be too good to be true. But I think that was at the peak of me thinking that maybe there is something to this whole Q trust the plan thing. I mean, they just brought in this pedophile. Look at all these human traffickers that have been arrested under Trump. There were a lot of human traffickers arrested under Trump. Make no mistake. But then when Bill Barr dropped the ball on that, I'm like, yeah, knew it was too good to be true. That was fool's gold. But Ghislaine Maxwell making it all the way to trial, I mean, that's good. The dark curtain of high society being lifted, and it's outstanding to see. I don't know anything that's going on with the trial right now. New York City, New York chief medical examiner resigning. Yeah, there's a lot of people resigning right now. And I don't know what to make of it. And I don't really want to, as much as I said, man, this should be something that's televised. I don't want to hear the details of what this man did to children. I just want to know who was involved. And once we find out who's involved, What's going to happen next? Then what? Okay, Bill Clinton was involved. Now what? Kevin Spacey involved. Now what? You know, I just wonder what's going to happen. When you think about people like Kevin Spacey, all of the people who accused him, at least like 3 of the 4 people that accused him of sexual assault, they all just kind of like got suicidal and just happened to die, or slipped on some ice and fell and broke their neck and died. It's just, guys, I don't even want to go there, but you guys can just tell. Anyway, Bill Barr dropped the ball because his dad was friends with Epstein. I knew about that. I actually forgot. That could very well be, but it was also his Department of Justice that arrested Epstein. It should be publicly shame time, brother Mike. More than shame, there needs to be, I'm just saying, there needs to be some real consequences for people who have violated the innocence of children. Spiritual war, corona cult, death dealing doctors, all great rap/rock on this one here. Comey's daughter is the prosecutor. Yeah, I knew about that. Covered that one a couple days ago, I think. It is absolutely spiritual war, though. And the media is so complicit. I mean, they have created some of the world's worst people. They've protected some of the world's worst people, including Epstein, Rosenbaum. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, all the people radicalized by their propaganda have committed acts of terror. I mean, they're trying. They've got a lot of the public on board with medical enslavement, and they've got a lot of people on board with committing acts of evil, like, you know, running people over at a parade. That was directly related to media lies and propaganda. Someone said, well, screw you then, Mike. Come on, man. Don't get yourself banned here. Don't get yourself banned. Take it easy there, because you'll be out of here, buddy. Is Jeffrey Epstein, Alec Baldwin, they get away with murder? Yeah, I guess something, Alec Baldwin, I didn't really read into the details of the story, but he was involved in protecting Cuomo, or he would have been involved in protecting Cuomo. There was collusion. Bye, Sean. You just want attention, Sean. Go love yourself right now. He's saying, I'm unsubscribing. Okay, buddy. Good for you. You want me to beg you to stay? Yeah, somebody said GTFO. Bye, Sean. Why are you still here? Go watch The View. Whoopi Goldberg's waiting for you. Yeah, people are roasting him in the comments. Why would you even bother watching somebody you don't like? Just leave. Please don't unsubscribe, Sean. Please, could you just stay? Like I said, I've unsubscribed from channels before, but I never left a comment saying, I'm out of here, buddy. I don't like what you said today. I'm unsubscribing. Loser. Who raised you? Anyway. Someone said, play the song. Trolls trolling your page. Yeah, that's what my moderators are here for. They'll take care of it. Let the trolls do what they do. The moderators eat the trolls. And I rewatch the streams too, and I see the moderators take care of the trolls. They do. It just happens. And if I happen to catch them, not only will they be out of here, they'll get exposed. They'll get called out. But Sean is eating cereal in mom's basement. But anyway, you guys are still talking about him. I'm going to scroll up to some other comment. Okay. Video footage showed Jussie Smollett rehearsing his fake hate hoax. That's right. The Jussie Smollett trial is happening, and he maintains his innocence, that he is actually a victim of the white supremacy that is so pervasive in American life. Juicy Smullet. And of course, he's playing the victim. It's actually the Nigerian brothers, those big black African dudes that he hired to beat him up. They are involved. They're the real white supremacists. Man, I just remember the memes were just they were gold. The memes that came out about Jussie Smollett, man, I miss those memes. There was one where it was a map of Nigeria and it said MAGA country. It was just, there was so many good memes over that. Jussie Smollett, that trial, man. And here's the thing, I don't even want to make a big deal out of the Jussie Smollett case because he's gonna settle out of court and he's gonna get probation. He's not gonna do any jail time. He's gonna get paid some fines. He's gonna pay some fines, and he'll probably continue being amongst the elites, and that's gonna be that. He will just go down in infamy as a person who lied about a hate crime against himself that wasn't even close to believable. Wasn't even close to believable. It just happened to be two Trump supporters with bleach and a noose in the middle of downtown Chicago in sub-zero temperature, and they happened to recognize the guy who should have been covered up because it's sub-zero in the middle of the night on his way to get Subway. And they happen to say, "Aren't you that N-word from Empire?" A show nobody's heard about. Let's get him. Let's throw a noose on his neck, beat him up, and dump bleach on him for some reason. I mean, the story wasn't even close to believable. I feel like a 6-year-old would be like, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, so it wasn't even so much that he staged a hate crime against himself. It's that it wasn't believable. And yet the media trafficked it as it was. Kamala Harris tweeting, "Jussie Smollett is one of the strongest people I know. This looked like a modern day lynching." It's like, even if it were believable that there were two random white guys that said MAGA country and they happened to stop Jussie Smollett and put a noose around his neck. I mean, you're in Chicago, downtown Chicago. Where are you going to find a tree to hang him in downtown Chicago? I mean, so dumb. Dumb. But yeah, Jussie Smollett is on trial right now, and he's going to get probation. Sean making another sandwich. Is he still in the chat? Honestly, is he still in the chat? Because he needs to be banned. I'm going to ban him because he's at this point just spamming if he's still in there. Somebody said the guy doesn't even know how to hire someone to kick his ass. I mean, you couldn't even find two white guys to beat you up. You hired two Nigerians, some of the blackest people on earth, like literally some of the black. You couldn't even find mixed people. You couldn't even find black people that look white, because that is the thing. You couldn't find actual white people to beat you up. You hired Africans. Derp. Stupid. Nigerian white supremacists are a big problem in Chicago. I mean, they're the face of white supremacy. Remember, guys, Larry Elder is the black face of white supremacy. Candace Owens is a white supremacist. I myself am, in fact, a white supremacist. In order to understand Trump's support, you have to understand multiracial whiteness. Yeah, that was an LA Times headline. That was one of the last posts I shared on Facebook before they gave me the boot. It's just sad. It's just sad the depth they are willing to go to divide the country and make people hate each other. Mike's Mohawk is Yes, Mike's Mohawk matters. Share, we need to spread the awareness. You'll see the Mohawk again. I prefer to wear a hat when the camera is looking straight on at me, because I look like a cone head if it's just like it's pointed upwards. So I don't like to do it. But at rallies and stuff like that, then I'll have it on, or I'll have it out, showing it off. They could have at least done the bit from White Chicks by Wayans Brothers. Can we get back to that, America, where it's okay to dress in whiteface again, and we can laugh at stuff? You can make fun of all races, all people, The best kind of comedy knows no bounds. You make fun of everybody. Nobody's off limits. Bring it back. Last of the Mohawkins. That's a good one. Please spread the word about Mike Nificent's channel and his Mohawk. And please help the channel grow. Thank you, Sean. God bless you. Any news on future rallies? Not sure, Pam. He just announced that he's having a Christmas party in Naples. I'm not sure when it's going to be, or it's a Christmas dinner / party. The tickets are extremely limited. And he's going to deliver some remarks after that. To my knowledge, he was supposed to announce a rally sometime in November. Like, I think he sent out one of his little press releases or whatever, where he said he was going to announce a rally and for people to sign up to be the first to know about it. But at this point, I don't think there's going to be any rallies between now and the new year. I suppose it's possible, but I just don't see it. Mohawks and mullets matter. I don't know about mullets. I don't know. I'm not against mullets. I'm not sure we need to necessarily bring those back. Unless, of course, you have a mullet, then God bless you. To each their own. But I don't know about it. Someone said, love you, Brother Mike. Love you too. God bless you. God bless everybody that would tune in and just listen to me randomly talk. I've already covered all the topics and I'm still holding the attention of an audience of almost 200 people. And it's impressive. It's humbling. Because these are just off the cuff commentary. And now I'm just reading comments. But is there anything that I haven't covered? Of course, there obviously are news stories I have not covered, but is there anything that is pressing before I wrap up for the week? I mean, let's get a look at this Michigan school shooter. I can spell Michigan school shooter. Now that it's known, okay. Where is the article? Hold on. Bear with me. I will get to that article, guys. We're going to get a look at this Michigan school shooter. Share. Copy. Paste. Okay, here we go. Exclusive. Bullied teen Ethan Crumbley, 15, is identified as Michigan high school shooter who gunned down 4 classmates with his father's 9mm after flaunting it on Instagram. Teen is charged as an adult with terrorism and murder. I think that's fair. Yeah. Should be charged as an adult. Should be charged with murder. But he's being charged as a terrorist. Huh. And we all know why that is. We all know. We all know. He's getting prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And no, I'm not making any excuses for this little, I won't say it, but no excuses should be made for this little monster who is nothing more than a vessel for demonic influence. That's what he was. But he's being prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, as he should be. But the fact that he is, I think it's purely political. Right? If he were a black school shooter, this would not be the case. It's just the truth. I'm not trying to play politics with it. What I'm trying to do is say things that are true. The school shooter in Texas, a black kid, high school shooter, he is free. He's not charged with even attempted murder. That is a thing that happened. You just had somebody run over like 70 people with his SUV. He's not being charged with terrorism. And he's a repeat offender. And he has a long criminal rap sheet. And he has posted things about terrorist attacks. Not terrorist attacks, but he was a potential terror threat. And he was on FBI watch list. He is not being charged with terrorism. Let that sink in. But this school shooter is. But again, he is not the victim here. This school shooter should be charged to the fullest extent of the law. Here's some photos of him. Wow. I'm looking at this for the first time. Other kids at school say Crumbly, shown in the pictures above, taken a few years ago, was being bullied at the school. Crumbly is shown right in 2017 profile about school project. What I want to know is more about the dad getting the guns. The dad purchased the guns, or the gun that he used, like a day before the shooting. The Crumbly home in Oxford, Michigan. See, the Daily Mail, even though they said Alex Baldwin instead of Alec Baldwin, they come with the receipts for the most part. So they got these photos already. They're the only ones that I've seen so far that's actually showing the face of the shooter. They arrested the gunman 15 in a hallway within minutes of the arrival with the help of an on-scene school resource officer. So, yeah. We know who the school shooter is. You're looking at him. 15 years old. Charged as an adult with terrorism and murder. Super chat from Silver Sister saying, every single thing you do in life is a test. Choose your actions wisely. Reflect daily in the morning and make a plan, and at night, then see yourself making better choices. Wise words, and thank you so much for that super chat. God bless you. Chris P said, Massachusetts is getting digital vaccine passports next year. Check WWLP 22 News. Moderators, make sure he gets this news. Yeah, the digital vaccine passports are already kind of here, right? Doesn't New York have an Excelsior pass? I mean, I'm not trying to downplay the news, but it's not necessarily breaking news. It's just another place is doing it. Like, right? Like, is anybody shocked at the fact that, at least in Massachusetts, they're going to be implementing digital vaccine passports? Are you like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it? No, because they're already doing that in New York to some degree. They're implementing health passes. That's already a thing in places like Israel, places in New York, the UK. They're already doing it. So, yeah, DM said, nope, nobody is shocked by this at all. Mike, cover the Kamala switch. What Kamala switch? You got to give me more info than that. Alex Jones was right. Irma says, have a blessed day, everyone. Mike, enjoy your time with family. Great show. Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody that reaches out and says, thank you, Mike, for covering the news, covering what's going on in our world. We appreciate you. What else is going on? Before I go ahead and wrap, I think we're well past an hour now. We're an hour and 18 minutes. Getting rid of Kamala for another candidate. Is that official? Pete Buttigieg said that Americans just need to get electric cars, and that'll alleviate your stress over gas prices, because that's just how it works, right? You just can go afford a Tesla right now. Of course, I would love to have a Tesla. I would love to have an electric car. I think they're cool. My friends have 2 Teslas, so I've ridden in one. I've driven one. They're nice cars. I would love to own one, but they're expensive. And even if you got an electric car, you still got to worry about the cost of goods going up, because as gas goes up, so do the price of the goods that require gas to be delivered, goods and services, the cost to heat and cool your home. Come on now. Who's eating that up? No way those Teslas blow up and burst into flames. Well, not the ones I've been in. One weird thing about Teslas is apparently if you drive near a cemetery, it shows on the map like little, I don't know if that's by design or what, but that's weird. Tesla is a globalist. Maybe so, but the car is still cool. I'm not going to say the car sucks. The car is really freaking cool. It's nice. I like it. If it was an American made company, which Elon Musk, I mean, he's African American, actually African American, they're made here, to my knowledge. I don't know all the things there is to know about Tesla. This is not a full on endorsement of Elon Musk. I'm simply saying I like the vehicle. It's sleek. It looks cool. The screen inside, it's a nice car. What is this thing about Kamala, though? I don't see anybody saying anything. That she's being replaced by Buttigieg. I will search Kamala Harris and see if anything pops up. If anything is official on Kamala Harris. Other than the fact that she is deeply unpopular, like uniquely unpopular. She's unpopular in a way that only she knows how to be. The last thing I saw is her and Michelle Obama are the leading candidates if Biden doesn't run for re-election. That's something to watch out for. Michelle Obama running in 2024 is potent for the left. Very potent. She will turn out voters. She, make it that way you will turn out voters in 2024. The word is she's being replaced because her poll numbers are below zero. That's the word, but I don't see anything official. Is there anybody saying anything official about it? On Twitter, maybe even. That's what I rely on, because if I just wait for like a headline to come out from ABC News or something, I do still use those sources, right, to critique it or whatever. Then it's going to be slow to come out. So if it's just speculation right now, let me go to somebody who usually has receipts and their speculation does end up showing up in headlines. Let's see if Jack Posobiec has said anything about it. First thing I see from him is Dr. Oz running for an open Senate seat in Pennsylvania, I think. Dr. Oz pushed bail reform. I don't know about Dr. Oz running for a Senate seat. Yeah, I don't see anything on Twitter about Kamala Harris. But if there is something coming out about it, there is something, I will cover it. You guys. Oh, look at that. I searched Kamala Harris, and the first thing that pops up is this. Ghislaine Maxwell's trial starts today, so a reminder of this picture of Bill Clinton getting a massage from Epstein victim Shantae Davies after a flight on the Lolita Express. He spoke at the 2020 DNC fundraise for Terry McAuliffe, did an event with Kamala Harris last March. So yeah, there's the former U.S. president getting a massage from one of Epstein's victims. Show me the photo of Trump getting a massage from one of Epstein's victims. Yeah, that's what I thought. They love to show this picture. Look, this obviously means Trump did all the things that Bill Clinton did and Prince Andrews, because he's photographed with him. And this is just really weird that I typed in Kamala Harris and that's the first thing that popped up. But that's all I got for her. Anyways. The Dems could have placed Jack the Ripper into the Oval Office. There will be brownouts/blackouts when electric cars become popular. The energy to change comes from somewhere. I agree. I agree with that. I agree with the statement. I think that fossil fuels are essential. It's cheap. It's efficient. It's a way to help heat the homes in the poor countries, brings light and energy to places like India. You notice they don't push climate change in India. India is so reliant on fossil fuels, it's not even funny. So they don't push it over there. With that said, it would be nice to see other ways to power the world. if solar power could take off in theory. I'm just saying theoretically, we should always try to find ways to innovate and improve without the help of government incentives and all that stuff. I'm talking private sector ingenuity, entrepreneurship, all of that good stuff. I think we should always try to find a way to improve, right? But right now, what it seems like is people just trying to make money hand over fist. Let's just push these green energy companies that we're invested in. We got futures in, we got stocks purchased, and we're going to get super rich off of it when we force you into this green energy sector. That's what happens when government gets involved, is you get this crony capitalism. So that's the problem. Government ruins just about everything. Somebody said something about Mankato, Minnesota. I'm familiar with that place. I'm very familiar with Mankato. All of these incriminating photos of Bill Clinton and Epstein victims, Biden sniffing little girls, and Obama with Farrakhan only appeared after they left the office. And didn't like Obama let one of his daughters intern for Harvey Weinstein or something like that? I'm pretty sure one of the Obama daughters interned or worked for or had some ties to Weinstein. Pretty sure. But you know what? All this darkness comes to light, you guys. All of it comes to light. God wins in the end. I think that's a good note to end on. All this negative, heavy, depressing, evil stuff we cover on this channel, God wins in the end. The truth wins in the end. The light wins in the end. Darkness can only exist in the absence of light, and that's what we're doing, is bringing light to this darkness, exposing it, telling the truth, shaming the devil, the enemy that wants to seek and destroy you. You see these demons lashing out, trying to control you, kind of control your mind, your body, your soul. You see these evil acts of terror being called car crashes, and it's really crazy. But in the end, God wins. Governor Baker will not seek re-election in Massachusetts. Yes. I love it when you start talking like that, Brother Mike. Preach it, baby. It's just the truth, man. It's the absolute truth. Good will prevail over evil in the end. Obama's daughters are not related to Obama. See, I don't want to talk about that because I don't have the receipts, but I've read some of the stuff that you've read. I've seen some of the things that you see, but I just kind of revert back to status quo as far as it goes as of describing the Obamas, right? Because I want to appeal to people that have not seen my content before. And if the first they're hearing from me is me saying Michelle Obama's a dude, they're going to turn it off immediately. They may not be ready for that. You know, it's like, I don't know. But all I'm saying is where there's smoke, there's fire with a lot of these topics. But I try to generally stay away from like the rabbit hole conspiracy stuff. I've been duped a lot of times. Not a lot of times, but more times than I need to. Someone said, I like it when you keep your platform full of receipts, Mike. That's good stuff. Yeah, I try to do that. I try to. If I say my opinion, I will say in my opinion, or I'll tell you, I don't have the receipts on that. I don't know if it's true. I haven't verified it because I'm covering my own ass. I'm making it known I don't have all the answers. I never proclaim to have all the answers. 9 times out of 10, if I have the receipts, I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to play it. I like video, evidence, audio, photos. Those are the best kind of receipts. verifiable evidence. That's what I tend to go with. No one comes to the Father but by him. Amen. This is Mike Nificent, not the Inquirer. Are you on other platforms? Yes, I am. I'm on Twitter. I'm on BitChute. I'm on Rumble. I am on Odyssey. I'm on CloutHub. I'm on Gab, Telegram. Find me, follow me. Links are always in the description. Links are pinned actually at the top of the chat here. I think they usually are. You got links right now. DM just put those in the chat for you. But you can just click on the drop down in the description section and find the links to everything, including links to I have PayPal, I have Cash App, I have Venmo, I have a P.O. box. This is my full-time job. So I think I've covered enough. And this is an hour and a half. This is the longest live stream I've done in a while. But I figured I was long overdue for at least like a good 30 minutes where I just interacted with the chat. That's what I like to do. But I've covered all the topics, and I'll say this last thing before I go. I will not be live tomorrow or Friday. I will be back Monday. So, guys, just make sure that you give this stream a thumbs up. Follow me on these other social media accounts. Follow me on Twitter. Like, I'm going to be posting, even though I'm busy with family doing other things, I will be posting things on Twitter and Getter. That's another one that I'm on too. Make sure you follow me there. Joey says, wait. What time is it? Salute. Mike, stay salty. Shout out to the Salty Army, always coming through with the support. Love the Salty Army out there. Give the Salty Army shout outs every time I'm on air with Right Side. What does he say on his channel? He says, fire those meme cannons, boys. Or load up those meme cannons. Yeah, I've covered everything, guys. I really have. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this stream up. But I appreciate all of y'all for tuning in today. God bless you. Again, make sure you give this stream a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up. Like. Subscribe. If you're new, hit the bell notification so you don't miss an upload. I will be back next Monday. God bless you. I'll catch you guys in the next stream.